So many years ago, I was about 12 or 13. My mother was having a birthday. And as my family and I gathered around the dinner table to celebrate, I asked my mom how old she was. She said she was 52. My father looked up from his plate a little confused and said, "How old are you?" It turns out after 18 years of marriage and raising 3 children together, my mother had been lying to my father the entire time about her age. He had thought she was 4 years younger than him, and she was actually 4 years older than him. Now, at the time, I thought that was the stupidest thing on earth. Why would a woman ever lie to her husband about her age? Why would a woman lie to any man about her age? I swore I would never do that. Then I hit my 30s and I had to think again. Turns out being a single woman of a certain age, it's terrifying to men. And I discovered this when I was living in Washington, D.C. I'd met a very attractive 6'5", black-haired, blue-eyed Croat named Dragan. Literally, his name was Dragan. And boy, was he pretty. So we started going out, had a great time after 2 or 3 dates, had a lot of things in common, laughing a lot. But I realized he never made a move on me. Didn't try to kiss me, didn't try to put his arms around me. But I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's shy, maybe it's a cultural thing. I'm gonna give it a little more time. And did I mention how pretty he was? So finally, it was our 4th or 5th date, and he invites me over to his house for dinner. He wants to make me dinner in his apartment. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, ka-ching! This is when the big payoff is gonna happen. So I get all dolled up, I go over to his house, makes me a wonderful meal, we're talking, we're laughing. But hours are passing and he's still not touching me. He's doing nothing. Finally, it's about midnight and I'm thinking, this is getting a little awkward. I gotta find out what's going on. So I say, Dragan, we've been hanging out for a while. You've never made a move on me. Are we dating or are we just friends? And he said, well, when we first met, I was interested in dating you, but then I found out how old you were and I thought it's best we were friends. I was like, what are you talking about? And apparently on our first or second date, age had came up and I told him how old I was. I was 2 years older than him. And he told me he didn't want to date an older woman. I was furious, but it taught me a lesson. From that point on, I started to lie about my age. I was always 5 years younger. Age ever came up with a man, 5 years younger. And this was working well, till one day I had to fly to California for a work conference. As I get on the plane, I walk to my seat, and I happen to be sitting next to another very young, attractive man. So we sit down, we start chatting it up, getting wine from the stewardess, talking. And at one point I mentioned where I went to college. He goes, oh, my best friend went to that college. When did you graduate? I'm like, oh my God. Okay, when did I graduate? When did I take 5 years off? Subtract 5 years, subtract 5 years. So I tell him I graduate 5 years earlier than I actually graduated. And he looks at me and goes, yeah, no, my friend wasn't there at that time. And I suddenly realized by saying I graduated 5 years earlier, I have now made myself 5 years older than I actually am. And this dude thinks I'm some old crazy lady. Immediately the whole tone shifts, there's no more flirtation, and I am furious with myself. And I swore from that point I was going to memorize a new birth year, a new high school graduation year, and a new college graduation year, because I never wanted to think again about how old I am. So I did that. I commit new years, birth year, high school graduation, college graduation year. And it's working well. At this point, I'm living in Brooklyn, New York. And I decide I'm going to give my hand at online dating. So I create my online profile, put up all my fake years on there. And ultimately, a wonderful man from Pennsylvania contacts me. The man who would become my husband. We start dating long distance for 2 years. We fall in love. I decide to move to Lancaster with him. We decide to get married. I am joyous. I've met the man of my dreams. We're going to get married. But I'm also terrified because I realize when we get married, we need to get a marriage license. And he doesn't know how old I am. And I can't put my fake years on a government certificate. So I come up with a plan. When we go to the courthouse, I'm going to let him fill out the form first, put all his information. He'll hand it to me. I'll fill out my information. I'll hand it to the clerk. Nobody will know. And it works. He doesn't know how old I am. I'm 6 years older than him. We get married, all is good. But I soon start thinking, I don't want to be like my mom. I don't want to wait 18 years to confess to my husband how old I am. I don't want to have to carry this secret my whole life. And I figure we're living together now. He's going to find my driver's license at some point. He's going to find out. So I'd say, okay, I got to let him know. So I go up to him one day and I tell him, I am 6 years older than him. He doesn't bat an eye. He doesn't care. He loves me for who I am. I no longer have to carry this burden, this secret about my age. And so tonight, on this stage, I'm going to tell all of you how old I am. Yeah, now that I think again, that's not going to happen. Maybe next time. Thank you.